My name is Ronnie Martin. I am a councilman in the city of Murfreesboro. Grew up originally in Smyrna, moved to Murfreesboro my 8th grade year. Actually went to Central Middle School before it was a Central Magnet School. Graduated from Riverdale, stayed to go to college at Middle Tennessee State. Got an undergraduate degree in 1997 in economics, and then my master's, an MBA in 2001. And so Murfreesboro's been home, married, have 4 children. My wife Cynthia is a teacher in the Murfreesboro City School System, and I've got 2 stepchildren, Brayley and Jarrett Gentry, and then 2 daughters, Holland and Kennedy Martin, and love Murfreesboro. I'm a pretty adventurous spirit, and so you think about hobbies that people do. I like to play golf. I don't play often, but I really like to scuba dive, which I do occasionally. I like to skydive, which I do occasionally. I like to hike, and it's not uncommon for me to go out and do a 10 or 12 or 15 mile hike. I like to tent camp and backpack, sometimes by myself, sometimes with a group. And I really enjoy the challenge, the mental and physical challenge of doing some of those things. And it makes me happy. It gives me quiet time to myself. And as crazy as it may sound, most of those things are sort of adrenaline filled, but it relaxes me. And so I find enjoyment in that. My earliest memory of Doug Young, who was a former city council member that passed away. Doug was a fraternity brother of mine. I met Doug when I was probably 18 years old at the K House on Maple Street. And Doug owned a business, had a lifelong passion for service to the community. And as I continued to age and work professionally in Murfreesboro, kept up with Doug and would be around him and see him and talk to him, and knew that he was very passionate about city council, very passionate about his service to the city of Murfreesboro. When he passed, I followed the conversation surrounding the potential for his wife to sort of take his spot and the debate on that. And so that was one of probably the first interests that I took in city politics, was watching that discussion. And I had a friend who mentioned to me, hey, you should think about running for city council. I had never been interested in politics, had never been interested in serving at that level, and came home and had a conversation with my family about that. And you as parents, there's probably nothing more difficult or more rewarding than having your children reflect with you on things and teach you things that maybe you've taught them at some point, or hope that you have tried to teach them. And in that conversation over dinner, when I was talking about that, my children challenged me on something, and that was that, I would say, hey, I serve in a dramatic, extensive way, in the sense that I work lots of hours professionally. I'm available for people on the weekend, and so I serve the people that I do business with. And I got called out pretty quick on that that was my job and that was what I got paid to do, and service was different than that. Service was something where they had actually done things with their church and youth group, and just a lot of different volunteer things that I had really not done the way they had done. And so it was really an eye-opening experience for me, for my children to sit across from me and say, hey, look, we're thankful for the things you do and what you provide for our family, but I'm not sure you can call your work service. And so, that had me really reflecting on that. It created an opportunity for me to kind of step back and decide how can I grow and how can I be better. And that was the combination of those things, Doug Young's influence and the impression that he made on me, and those discussions with my family that, you know, hey, we appreciate how hard you work, but that's not the same thing as service. And it was pretty eye-opening for me. So that was how I got involved. I think we are very fortunate, Murfreesboro specifically has been very fortunate to have great leaders in our city. I'm very proud of the city that we live in, and what I know is what little bit I do in service to the community is built on prior acts of service from others that have served. And so I say that because I think it's really important for people that are interested in serving, that are willing to serve, because it is not easy. It takes a tremendous amount of commitment. There's a certain pain threshold you have to be able to endure to do it because it's not easy. But making sure that I did my part to give back to the community that has given so much to me. I think the role of a council member, and this has been very educational for me as a first-time council member, is really to be present and available to the people in the community, to be able to kind of offer some insight into concerns that they have, to questions that they have, but to really be present for them as a representative of the community, and to really do my part as a member of council to share those concerns, share those visions with the council more broadly, and to really try to give the best guidance and direction to the leaders of the city, our city manager and our senior staff, that while they are managing the process of running our government and providing services, that we make certain that that manner in which they serve is a reflection of our community values, the types of things we want to see in our community, that they're present, and really do the best we can to help shape that community for the citizens. I think the people, you know, I think we are so very fortunate to live in I'm very fond of the South. I think we live in a very warm, hospitable area. I think Murfreesboro has had the benefit of, again, going back to harnessing good leadership and creating opportunities for citizens, whether it be, you know, good housing stock, a place to live, whether it be a good education because of our schools, the opportunity to, you know, go to college in the town you grew up in with an elite institution like Middle Tennessee State University, to be able to work here and to have job creation here where you can say, you know, I grew up in Murfreesboro, and we've got a lot of people that are moving to Murfreesboro, but this is a community based on, you know, the secondary school education system we have, the higher education school system that we have, and kind of the workforce creation opportunities and the overall local economy. It's just a really, really special place, and I think our challenge will continue to be, you know, how do we preserve the quality of life that we have to make sure that as we're busting at the seams, that we don't lose some of that. And that's a real challenge for us as a council, and it will continue to be a challenge for councils. This is where having a healthy variety of opinion at the council is very helpful. You know, I grew up in Blackman. It was literally across from where we are proposing having the conversation about the new Blackman Park, in a very rural setting, and you know, that's where my parents wanted to be, and that's where they wanted our home to be. Right now, as we do this, you know, interview, we're on Lytle Street and Manny Street, you know, 3 blocks off the square, you know, in Murfreesboro. And for me and my family, I can't ever imagine living not in a more urban core in more of a downtown area. And so my vision for Murfreesboro would be more urban in the sense of being able to live, work, and play from the standpoint of, you know, if If you wanted to live in a place where you could walk to a restaurant, which we do often, you can. If you wanted to have the option to live in a place where you could walk to your place of employment, which I do, you can. And if you wanted to be able to walk to a park and have sort of lifestyle amenities close to where you live, you can. Oakland's Mansion is not far from here. Murphy Spring is not far from here. And so, I would very much advocate for a very focused, intentional plan for mixed use type living, which is going to increase density, but it has to be a part of the planning process. I think with where we are in our city and the demand for housing stock, and when you take, what I do professionally, I'm a banker and I do a lot of real estate lending and I'm very involved in real estate. When you take the fact that you give some consideration and thought to the cost of living in Murfreesboro, while it is still very affordable in comparison to other places in the country, it's significantly more expensive to live here now than it was 10 years ago, and the same case for 20 years ago. And so I think all of those things have to be a part of the conversation about who do we want to be, and who are we trying to craft that vision for? Is it for the people that are here, or is it for the people that would like to come here? And I think you have to do some of both. But what you do not want to do is sort of lose that core value of who you are as a community. And I think that we can preserve Murfreesboro without having to necessarily be a rural community. It doesn't have to remain a rural community. We can have rural areas, but I think we can also have very dynamic, very synergistic areas that have high density, and sort of create or draw in people that want to invest in a community, because one of the realities of business and economics is we have to have rooftops to attract industry, whether that be retail or commercial, and in my opinion, the job sector. If we want corporate headquarters to relocate here, we've got to have housing stock, and we've got to have amenities for employees and executives. And I think we're grinding the gears to try to figure out how to do that. But my vision would be a community that's inclusive, that is safe, and that provides a really good quality of life, knowing that you're never going to make everyone happy.